She was taken from her own bed, while her younger sister pretended to sleep, frozen in fear. It happened in the heart of suburban Salt Lake City. June 5, 2002. A quiet, warm summer night turned into a waking nightmare. Elizabeth Smart was only 14, a child with braces and dreams, when she vanished without a trace. For 9 months, America searched. Her face was everywhere, on TVs, on milk cartons, in every whispered conversation across the country. What happened to her? Who could do this, and why? Behind the headlines was a tale far darker than anyone could imagine. A story of control, belief twisted into madness, and a fight for survival that stunned the world. This isn't just a kidnapping story, it's a journey into the human spirit. Into fear and unimaginable strength. Hit like, subscribe and let's go. Before the storm, there was calm. Elizabeth Smart lived in a big house nestled in the hills of Salt Lake City, Utah, a home filled with piano music, laughter, and family prayers. She was the second of 6 children, quiet, polite, with a soft voice and a love for the harp. Mornings began with family breakfasts, school, then music lessons or bike rides through the neighborhood. Her parents, devout Mormons, raised their children with faith, structure, and kindness. Elizabeth was just a girl, dreaming of becoming a performer, planning her next recital, worried about her braces and teenage crushes. The kind of life many remember from their own childhood. Safe. Predictable. But even in that peaceful world, shadows can slip in unnoticed. A man had once worked on their roof, a stranger the family had helped out of Christian charity. No one thought much of him then. But that memory would soon come knocking in the night. It began with a voice. Low. Commanding. Elizabeth, get up. Don't make a sound. It was just after 2 a.m. on June 5, 2002. Elizabeth had fallen asleep in the pink glow of her bedroom nightlight. Her younger sister, Mary Catherine, was next to her in bed. The voice didn't belong in their home. But there it was, cutting through the stillness. A man stood at the edge of her bed, holding a knife. Not shouting. Not rushing. Just, still. Calm. Deadly. He whispered that he would kill her and her family if she didn't come. And she obeyed, barefoot, in her pajamas, stepping out into the cold night. Mary Catherine saw it all, but stayed silent, frozen under the covers. No screams. No crash. Just the slow sound of footsteps fading into the dark. When the sun rose, Elizabeth was gone. And nothing made sense anymore. But this was only the beginning. Morning light poured through the windows, but the silence in the Smart house was sharp, unnatural. Elizabeth's bed was empty. Her shoes still neatly placed. At first, her parents thought she'd gone for early practice or wandered off sleepwalking. But Mary Catherine's face was pale, her voice shaky. A man took her. It didn't seem real. The doors had been locked. No broken glass. No screams. Just gone. Police arrived. Bloodhounds. Reporters. The home filled with the sound of walkie-talkies and search dogs, but no answers. A search began through nearby woods and canyons, helicopters circling above. Still nothing. As hours turned to days, suspicion crept in. Was it someone they knew? Had they missed something? Then Mary Catherine remembered something strange, the man's voice, it sounded familiar. Like Emmanuel. A name from months ago. A drifter the family had once fed. Hired. Forgotten. That name, barely remembered, was about to drag them into something they couldn't understand, yet. Days turned into weeks, but Elizabeth remained missing, a ghost slipping through the cracks of Salt Lake City. Then, a startling discovery shattered the fragile hope. A young woman was spotted wandering near a highway, disheveled and frightened, clutching a small Bible and whispering about a man named Brian David Mitchell. The name was unfamiliar, yet chilling. Mitchell, it turned out, was a self-proclaimed religious prophet, a man obsessed with apocalyptic visions and strict, twisted beliefs. Investigators learned he had targeted Elizabeth, seeing her as part of a divine mission. Suddenly, this was no ordinary kidnapping, it was a terrifying journey into fanaticism and control. Elizabeth's family, once waiting helplessly, now faced a new battle, to unravel the mind of a dangerous zealot, and to bring their daughter home. The nation watched, breath held, as the truth began to unravel, and with it, the real horror of what Elizabeth endured. As days passed, the terrifying truth began to seep through the cracks. Elizabeth was not just missing, she was being held captive, controlled by a man whose mind twisted faith into chains. Brian David Mitchell's delusions ran deep. He believed Elizabeth was a sacred figure, meant to fulfill his warped prophecy. Authorities uncovered chilling details. She was forced to move constantly, isolated from the world, trapped in a nightmare of religious fanaticism. The scale of the danger became clear. This was not a simple rescue mission, but a fight against madness that threatened to consume a young girl's very soul. Elizabeth's family felt the weight of helplessness crushing down, but also the fierce determination to find her, to break the silence. The nation's hope flickered in the dark. Would she survive this living hell? Every second mattered, and the terror only grew. The days turned agonizing as Elizabeth's world shrank into shadows and whispered threats. Brian David Mitchell's grip tightened, his fanaticism twisting into violence and control. For Elizabeth, every breath was a battle, between obedience and the flicker of defiance growing inside her. She faced impossible choices, forced to submit or risk everything. Meanwhile, law enforcement closed in, but Mitchell was cunning, moving her through remote wilderness, staying just out of reach. The nation held its breath, watching a desperate game of cat and mouse unfold. Elizabeth's courage shone through the darkness, but the danger was real. The man who held her believed he was unstoppable. Would her strength be enough to survive? Or would the shadows swallow her whole? The question hung in the air, chilling, impossible to ignore. Months passed in darkness, the nightmare stretching endlessly. Elizabeth's spirit was battered, trapped in a world where hope seemed impossible. The wilderness around her was cold and unforgiving, and Mitchell's threats grew harsher, leaving her isolated and scared. At one point, escape seemed utterly out of reach. She was moved farther from civilization, her voice silenced by fear. It was a breaking point, a moment when even the strongest might have surrendered. The world outside wondered if she was lost forever. But deep inside, a flicker remained. A memory of home, of love, and the quiet strength that refused to be extinguished. That tiny spark of resilience would soon ignite, turning despair into a desperate fight for freedom. The end was near, but it was not yet written. After 9 long months lost in the wilderness, a breakthrough came not from force, but from Elizabeth's courage and clarity. One day, while Mitchell was distracted, she seized a rare moment, speaking calmly, confidently to a family that passed by their hiding place. Her whispered plea for help was met with disbelief at first, but soon rescue teams were alerted. Elizabeth was freed, alive but changed, carrying the scars of her ordeal. The nation exhaled in relief as she returned to her family's arms, a symbol of resilience against darkness. Her escape was not just a rescue, it was a testament to the strength that can rise from even the darkest places. The nightmare had ended, but her journey toward healing was only just beginning. Elizabeth Smart's story did not end with her rescue, it transformed her life and touched the world. She became a voice for survivors, speaking out against violence and fanaticism, shining light into dark corners many feared to enter. Her courage inspired countless others to find strength in vulnerability and hope amid despair. But the questions linger: how many stories remain untold? How do we protect the innocent when evil hides behind faith and silence? Her journey challenges us all to stay vigilant, compassionate, and courageous. What would you do in the face of such darkness? If Elizabeth's story moved you, hit subscribe, share your thoughts below, and help keep the conversation alive. Together, we remember, and we fight for a safer world.